Gang stalkers are driving me crazy already this morning, indeed. I believe the idea that Devizes police have is to send me as crazy as possible so that I can't function, so that I can't operate, and so that I go out into the street and do something crazy which will allow for Devizes police to have me arrested, and therefore all damages by myself to Devizes police can be minimized. Therefore, I will be forgotten about and fade into obscurity. Indeed, the gang stalkers are harassing me and tormenting me with voices already this morning. Indeed, this is part of the Roundway experiment, TF84, ongoing project. By Devizes, please, in coordination with Mossad elements who are working for the Fourth Reich, such as various networks of psychiatrists operating out of Green Lane, as well as certain GRU operatives who are resident at the Green Lane Psychiatric Facility. Indeed, Dr. Peter Crofts of Green Lane Psychiatric Hospital has a connection to the Soviet GRU via networks that he operates for within the Mossad. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, this is basically an international conspiracy against me, coordinated by GRU elements who are operative for the DVD networks of Dietrich Kammler, SS Obergruppenführer Dietrich Kammler, who is one of the highest overarching Bavarian Illuminists within the DVD's networks. Indeed, he seems to have a personal vendetta against me and is operating through various proxies, including Mossad operatives such as Sabbatean Dr. Peter Cohen of Green Lane Psychiatric Hospital and the Mossad operative Dr. Peter Crofts. Indeed, it's interesting to consider Dr. Peter Crofts, because Dr. Peter Crofts would accuse me of being anti-Semitic when I'm aware that these networks of the Mossad work for the Nazis. Indeed, Dr. Peter Crofts is himself anti-Semitic and operative for Nazi continuum organizations within the British mental health system, which is itself based on mental hygiene and eugenics. So it's all very interesting to notice. Indeed, this is all part of the Roundway experiment, i.e. TF84, which was begun in 1947 by various networks of British eugenicist psychiatrists and imported Nazis who had been imported from the secret psychiatric testing facilities of the Third Reich, and all came together at Roundway Insane Asylum in Devizes, attempting to begin a project which has resulted in the deaths of over 400,000 mental patients in incinerators. Indeed, these mental patients were imported from various nations, mostly the United States and Russia. Indeed, it's so very interesting that the specific mental patients that are used for psychic warfare testing are usually part of the 20 to 30% of mental patients, i.e. paranoid schizophrenics, on psychiatric wards that Itzhak Bentov theorizes are of a higher stage of evolution than the rest of society. Indeed, this is a fascinating theory. Indeed, it was the theory I've been waiting for, and it proves everything to me. Indeed, I believe that there is a higher intelligence working through these 20 to 30% of paranoid schizophrenics. Indeed, why would I operate for the Russian government when I can operate for higher intelligence sources than a terrestrial foreign agency? This is the thing. This is what's baffling Devizes police. Indeed, it's interesting to consider that Devizes police themselves have several interconnecting networks with the Russian state, i.e. to do with the provision of Russian mental patients who are themselves cosmic channelers for ritual sacrifices by butcher Freemasons underneath the butcher's shop, Walter Rose and Sons in Devizes. So it's interesting how all of this interconnects. Indeed, this is all part of the Roundway experiment. The Roundway experiment, although much of it is grounded in technology, there are many occult aspects to the experimentation. Indeed, the whole concept of psychotronics is heavily occult linked. Indeed, to basically coordinate someone's activities by harnessing and utilizing the use of their brainwaves is an occult tactic. So it all begins to make sense. Indeed, there are various networks of extraterrestrials who are malevolent and also want to destroy extraterrestrial higher intelligences such as myself. So it's all very interesting. However, I'm not going to get into theories on greys. I do not believe that the greys exist in the concept that Hollywood promotes them, but there are extraterrestrial entities who are demonic. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, the Freemasons often attempt to commune with these demonic entities during their occult rituals. And indeed, one time when I was high on LSD, I believe I entered a realm that was solely reserved for the Freemasons on the astral plane. And the Freemasons began to target me in physical form after this occurred. So still very interesting to consider. Indeed, as I stated, there seems to be a cosmic war going on between these 20 to 30% of paranoid schizophrenics who are of a higher stage of evolution and the Freemasonic networks. And indeed, as I've explained, the Bavarian Illuminists are a sub-branch of several deep-reaching German Masonic orders who have now conquered the world through the dominion of IG Farben. Indeed, this is represented even on a local level, what with the Roundway experiment being coordinated by various Nazis who belonged themselves to occult orders, who set themselves up in Devizes and made a pact with the local townspeople to begin the Roundway experiment, which includes psychic warfare experimentation, time travel experimentation, various parallel reality experimentation, and also more generic mind control experimentation, the creation of hypno-programmed assassins and couriers, also the creation of sex slaves, hypno-programmed sex slaves, and basically create the creation of networks that can subdue dissent against the government, who are themselves under mind control. So it's all very interesting. Indeed, also the turning up of these Nazi networks in Devizes also led to the organ harvesting network centered around Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop. So it's all very much an interlinking concept. And indeed, these Nazis that turned up in Devizes in 1947 were shadowed by Otto Niemeyer, who was very well placed in the Bank of England and was very close to Sir Montague Norman, who himself was responsible for the setting up of the National Association for Mental Health, along with various Nazis, which is now known as the National Institute for Mental Health. Indeed, he supplied the documentation that allowed these Nazis to become resident in Devizes, including Dr. Werner Willinger, who is well known to Scientologists as a barbarian, though I have explained that Scientology is in fact a false conflict with psychiatry. However, the testimonies of many ex-Scientologist whistleblowers are very informative, especially regards Dr. Werner Willinger, who was a key Nazi operative, therefore an operative of the DVD, who was well placed to set up networks in Devizes to operate for the DVD in their grand scheme for the takeover of the British Empire for the Nazis, basically. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, British intelligence were on board with the agenda of these Nazis operating out of Roundway because they believed that they needed to get one over on the Soviet Union. Indeed, the British intelligence services were afraid of the mind control concepts being conceived basically by the Soviet Union. Indeed, at the time, the Soviet Union was far more advanced than the West in terms of mind control capacity. Indeed, the Soviets had begun serious experimentation in mind control in the 1920s after Lenin's meeting with Pavlov. So it's all very interesting to consider. So the Roundway experiment was set up basically to attempt to counter what the Western cryptocracies believed was a Soviet mind control threat. However, due to interweaving networks within cryptocracies, many KGB psychiatrists ended up actually taking part in the Roundway experiment project. Indeed, the Cold War is not quite as you believe it to be. Indeed, there are so many interlinking networks within cryptocracies of the Western and Eastern blocs that there was so much overlay between psychiatrists. Indeed, the psychiatrists themselves had basically formed their own intelligence network, solely consisting of psychiatrists, which is a continuation of the Mad Housekeepers Guild I've delineated in several previous videos. Indeed, as stated, this Nazi network operating out of Devizes that included a Dr. Alois Kramer was overseen by Dr. Werner Willinger, who himself mainly operated out of Germany, yet oversaw the operations of the Devizes Nazi psychiatrists, who were themselves heavily intertwined with the Devizes police force and helped them organize their organ harvesting trade, operating out of Walter Rose and Sons butcher's shop. Indeed, the first carcasses that were used for the organ harvesting at Walter Rose and Sons butcher's shop were disposable mental patients from the Roundway complex. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, this all involved the creation of a combine whereby Devizes police oversaw the activities of the organ harvesting networks operating out of Walter Rose and Sons butcher's shop. It also covered for the possible discovery of the Roundway experiment. Indeed, even now, Devizes is so heavily policed, and this is not because the Wiltshire Police Headquarters is located in Devizes. It is because Devizes wish to cover up for the organ harvesting network operating out of Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop. Indeed, majority of the police of Devizes' time is spent attempting to cover for the fact that Walter Rose and Sons butcher shop is engaged in a large organ harvesting operation, complete with a child trafficking syndicate, which itself is overseen by the DVD through proxies of Middle Eastern and Indian subcontinent heritage, who are themselves, by their very nature, as jihadists within the DVD's overall plan for the UK. So it all interlinks together. Indeed, the DVD are operating organ harvesting syndicates all over the southwest that interlink with the Walter Rose and Sons butcher's shop cartel. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, the DVD are attempting to shut down any conversation within the intelligence services regarding these networks. Indeed, as I stated, NW7, i.e. the IG Farben Intelligence Branch, run the British intelligence and security services through DVD moles within the British intelligence services. And indeed, there were so many DVD moles in the British intelligence services at the close of the Second World War that it was basically a Nazi organization, the British intelligence services. So it's interesting to consider this. Indeed, as I've stated, the DVD basically caused the Cold War through networks of Reinhard Gehlen playing up the Soviet threat to the West. So very interesting indeed. Such tentacles of the British and US American intelligence services, such as the World Commerce Corporation, set up by William Wild Bill Donovan, the director of the Office of Strategic Services, were themselves Nazi front networks, as all of these MI6 and OSS Old Boy networks were fascist oriented. Indeed, it's interesting to consider the links between William Wild Bill Donovan and Prodeo. Indeed, although Prodeo would seem on the surface to be an American-aligned Vatican intelligence service, it was actually a Nazi front operated by networks of SS officer Karl Wolf, who himself made a deal with Dulles, Alan Dulles, which has become known as Operation Sunrise. Indeed, it's all very interesting to interlink all of these networks with the Gladio Continuum networks that began soon after the cessation of hostilities during the Second World War. Indeed, there are still many Gladio networks operative, especially at the moment through the Gladio 4 program. Indeed, the majority of Special Branch are involved in the creation of neo-Nazi terrorist cells and jihadist networks that basically serve a function to destabilize society for the implementation of a Nazi police state. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, this all interlinks to the Roundway experiment, because I underwent Gladio 4 programming to effectively attempt to get me to become a neo-Nazi terrorist. This was Wiltshire Police programming me to attempt to get me to become a neo-Nazi terrorist. However, this didn't work. Indeed, the Devizes police networks were aware that I was one of the 20 to 30% of paranoid schizophrenics who are parapsychotic and therefore are operative for cosmic intelligence, and indeed are of a higher stage of evolution than the rest of society. And indeed, Devizes police wanted to shut me down, so they railroaded me further into the Roundway experiment, designated TF-84, and attempted to cast me as a neo-Nazi terrorist. Indeed, they were in communication with special branch cells that were themselves operating for the DVD, yet in a kind of false conflict were attempting to make me out to be a domestic terrorist. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, the majority of domestic terrorists are themselves created by Special Branch. Indeed, Special Branch creates the neo-Nazi terrorist organizations and coordinates the paedophile activity of various Satanist groups such as 764, the Order of Nine Angles, Nordic Resistance Movement, and the Maniac Murder Cult, and also is heavily involved in the creation of jihadist networks, which all serves a purpose in the overall and overarching DVD agenda. So it's all very interesting to consider this. Indeed, these networks of Nazi psychiatrists at Roundway were responsible for many murders and the grisly deaths of 400,000 mental patients over the course of 50 years. So it's all very interesting to consider there's been a secret Holocaust that has gone on in Devizes, covered up by Devizes police and the residents of the town of Devizes. who do not want their special pact with occult Nazi orders being revealed to the world via a mental patient releasing the information into the public domain. The Soviet GRU are attempting to shut me down before I reveal too much about the GRU's involvement of Vladimirovka, though this is a story for another day, indeed. I was mind control programmed at Vladimirovka to be an assassin for the GRU. As I've explained in a previous video, I carried out at least 17 hits for the GRU during the years 2013 to 14. And this was all part of the Ospreniki operation, indeed. The guys who programmed me were learned in both Nazi and Soviet techniques of mind control, and therefore were able to split my mind quite comprehensively. Therefore, I have various alters. And these alter personalities can be programmed via coding to basically cause me to become a mind-controlled hitman. Indeed, many mind-controlled hitmen were trained at Roundway to operate for the British intelligence services. Indeed, the British intelligence services have their own networks of mind-controlled hitmen, as do the Soviets. The Soviets have various networks of mind-controlled hitmen operative at one time. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, this is the nature of modern warfare, and indeed, mind control is the most important thing to the cryptocracies, and this is itself an Illuminist tradition, or with the all-seeing eye of Illuminism representing the pineal gland. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, I'm going to leave it there now because my head's beginning to hurt because of the beams that are being put through the camera. So it's all very interesting to consider. Indeed, that's that now.